In the last lecture, we talked about the secession of East Pakistan, an extremely tragic experience in history because Pakistan was made with lot of sacrifices, and by the secession of East Pakistan, it really told us that we have to give up our arrogance, our selfishness, and we have to learn how to live with each other. The present times that I am communicating with you also remind us that we have to forget this individualism. We have to forgive people who so far lived in a cocoon, and we request them to live in a society. A society needs interaction, compassion, and patriotism. In this lecture, we'll discuss the first PPP government that was the government of the remaining Pakistan. 20th December 1971, the office of the Chief Martial Law Administrator and the President was transferred to Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. It's very interesting that it was, I think, a very unique moment when a civilian was made a Chief Martial Law Administrator. Bhutto has announced the socialist economy from the platform of his People's Party, and so the first thing he did was to nationalize the heavy industrial unit except textiles, and this created an environment in which educational institutions were also nationalized. Nationalize of education was not in the original Pakistan People's Party's manifesto, but took after under pressure from Teachers Union, guided by recommendations made by the Noor Khan Commission. Labor reforms could be effected as capital, and labor were drawn from different ethnic groups. Stringent agriculture reforms were announced, and this was not a success of People Party. Whatever was announced was not strictly implemented, as Zulfikar Ali Bhutto had previously cabled Yahya Khan against the imposition of agricultural tax. So you see, a person who declared for a socialist economy was not ready to go the benefits of that economy to the common man. After keeping the commerce and business in suspense, the government nationalized banks and insurance companies on 1st January 1974. Bhutto was the first popular leader of Pakistan since the generation of the founders. He adopted the creed of Islamic socialism, which was considered against by over 100 ulama representing fundamentalist Islamic parties. Although Islamic socialism was a concept that was favored by Allama Iqbal, Maulana Hasrat Mohani, and later by Muhammad Ali Jinnah used the same term, and it was projected as state's ideology by Liaqat Ali Khan. The Raja of Mahmudabad, a great man of Pakistan movement, and Fatma Jinnah, as we have seen in the ideological history of Pakistan, supported Islamic socialism. The Awami League, PPP, and National Awami Party of Chaudhry Muhammad Ali, the former Prime Minister, and General Sher Ali Khan, Yahya's information minister, had urged Yahya to cancel the results of the 2nd December 1970 elections. Some officers solemnly contemplated transferring power to Air Marshal retired Asghar Khan, and who had lost his own seat in the elections. The electoral victory for the PPP had broken the traditional patterns of results, and many feudals and other entrenched politicians lost in it. That is why I call it the fairest possible elections in Pakistan. In the urban constituencies, especially in Karachi, Bhutto faced opposition even from the liberal sector, when he recognized Sindhi as the official language of Sindh. The decision resulted in riots between Urdu and Sindhi speaking groups. It had great destabilizing potential by Zeta Bhutto, but he overcame it by making a direct sentimental appeal to all contenders. The industrial and commercial interests having already been alienated, Bhutto next eliminated radical elements from his own party. Miraj Muhammad Khan is one who was like an ideologue of the People's Party. The nationalized sector gradually showed a dismal performance. The nationalized banks performed professionally during Bhutto's term and only even later faced bankruptcy when huge loans were written off. On the whole, however, security of service combined with lack of incentive had a detrimental effect. Really, all the institutions started going down on services for which the major and moral responsibility is vested in the employees. Bhutto had very uneasy relationship with his opposition counterparts, and on assuming power, he lifted the ban on the anarchy imposed by Yahya regime, National Awami Party of NWFP and Balochistan. And Bhutto dismissed the government of Balochistan, in consequence of which the then NWFP, now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government also resigned. This was not a good political beginning for even a popular leader. And in the domain of foreign policy, there was a seesaw pattern. In the beginning, Bhutto had to contend with the USSR, and towards the end of his term, he had to contend with the US, which was infuriated at Bhutto's attempt to counteract India's nuclear opposition to Pakistan's nuclear explosion in 1974. Bhutto leaned to the left, pulling out of CENTO and CETO and extending recognition to North Korea, North Vietnam and East Germany. He had a signal success with the Muslim world. Following the Arab-Israeli war, Bhutto allegedly advised the policy of an oil embargo, and in 1974 he hosted the Second Islamic Summit at Lahore, taking time out to recognize Bangladesh when all the leaders of the world were present in Lahore. Bhutto's most enduring legacy is the near unanimous constitution promulgated on 12th August 1973, under which Bhutto became the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He also laid the foundation of the nuclear program, which enabled Pakistan to test in 1998. Do forgive me, I forgot and I made a mistake that I touched my tongue with my finger, which I should not be doing, and nobody should be doing it at all. Do forgive me. Bhutto was to complain that this initiative caused his overthrow. However, in 1976 felt confident enough to schedule general elections for March 1977. Almost overnight, large urban centers became the centers of opposition. A 9-party opposition alliance called the Pakistan National Alliance was formed, and I think this was the most hard-hitting opposition that anybody in political power ever faced. And there was a reason behind this bitterness of the campaign, apart from ideological, class and ethnic conflict. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was imperious by nature, and there were many who became victims of his fit of rage, the most prominent among them being J. Rahim, the Secretary General of PPP and a federal minister, who was dismissed beaten and humiliated, Bhutto veneered more to state power than people's power, and that was a great mistake that he made. And while he welcomed feudals into the PPP folds, which was against the People Party's manifesto, he alienated the committed socialist radicals of his party, yet he retained sufficient rhetorical skills. He was a very good speaker, a charismatic speaker, a skill to strike a direct rapport with the masses. Oh, he can hold them for hours. They were like in a trance. There were many other matters that stood when 1977 general elections were held. The PPP won more seats than Bhutto expected. The Pakistan National Alliance refused to accept the results, claiming the polls had been rigged. There were striking irregularities in the polling, and they were quite evident, yet it is doubtful that they extended to an actual conversion of the public mandate. He regained popularity immediately after his removal, but he gained popularity in his own life also when he brought in the prisoners of war to Pakistan, and when he was able to have a similar agreement with the Indira Gandhi government in India. And the Shimla Accord signed between these two countries had as its main provisions, and I would like to inform you, and I'll quote, that the principles of purpose of the Charter of the United Nations shall govern the relations between the two countries. The second thing was, the two countries are resolved to settle their differences by peaceful means, through bilateral negotiation, or by any other peaceful means mutually agreed upon between them. Pending the final settlement of any problem between the two countries, neither side shall unilaterally alter the situation. And then the fourth thing was, Jammu and Kashmir, the line of control resulting from the ceasefire of 17 December 1971, shall be respected by both sides without prejudice to the recognized position of either side. But he gained more popularity after his removal from the government. And to neutralize his popularity, the military regime tried Bhutto for aiding and abetting in the murder of a political opponent. Despite discrepant ballistics evidence that the divided bench presented, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was executed on 4th April 1979, and that is how Pakistan put a custom of hanging their own prime minister. With his all too human fallings and failings, Bhutto possessed a political mystique. And on 18 December and October 2004, Z.A. Bhutto's lifetime opponents joined in paying him tribute. The way he really accepted his death, that proves that the man had some mettle.